Hello, everyone. Good morning. We are happy to have you. Welcome to our guest, Juliette. You are the most welcome. My name is Ornella, and I'm the event organizer of Global Gain, which is an American NGO, and we are part of its program called Intwari Women. And Intwari Women is made of former students because we are all Aquila alumni. I hope you know Aquila, which is now Davis College, the only women's institute in Rwanda. And we are happy to have you for Women's History Month discussion. So let me give you the floor and you introduce yourself to us and our followers. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you. And as you can see, my wall is in purple. We are celebrating the Women's Month history. It happened by, the house that I'm living in has a purple paint. So thank you so much for having me. And I'm really happy to be here. My name is Juliette Karitanyi, aka Juju Karitanyi, and I am a women's rights activist and a feminist. I'm 33 years old, and I'm really happy to be here. I'm so passionate about women's rights, and when she reached out, we really have a busy month because even at work, we are only talking about Women's History Month. But I was like, yeah, I need to make it, and I'm here and I'm happy. Yeah, so thank you for having me.
Well,
Sorry, I'm at home, so if you hear some noise, sorry, I'm with my family members, so if you hear someone talking, please bear with me.
it's okay.
Okay.
It's okay. Well, we have a few questions for you. And the first one was talking a little bit about yourself, like a little bit about your work. So we would like you to elaborate and say like what you do and the reason that made you do that kind of work you do.
I'll start from how I was raised. I was raised in a family where men and boys had equal rights, and we all attended the same school. They wanted all of us to progress and all that. But when I was like 7, that's when I started seeing gender. They would tell me because I'm a woman or I'm a girl to do certain work, and then the boys would be given other roles. And I started seeing that, inside of my heart, I felt like some of the things were not right. For example, would sit and have a meal, and one of my cousins would send me to go and bring him water. So I remember telling him, I'm like, why can't you just stand and bring yourself water? And she's like, but you're a girl. So that started resonating in my head. I'm like, yeah, maybe we are different, but all the time I felt like it wasn't fair. So when I was in senior two, when we were studying about culture, so we studied about bride price. They explained how a girl is exchanged with a cow. And I remember telling my teacher that I don't want dowry. And everyone laughed. So, because I feel like we are being exchanged, and then they told us that women can't whistle, and I remember I used to do that a lot. Or they can't sit and put the leg on top of the other, and I remember going home, I would do it. So I started having I would say like a spiritual rebellion, because I was like, everything around me cannot block me or stop me from being who I am. So that was there from the when I was young till when I grew up, and then I had a job during the day when I was working with a tech company, but in the evening I had the radio show where I used to go and talk about um, issues that are in the society, but at the same time I'd connect lovers. So in the connecting them, I would still talk about how they have equal rights in relationship. No one is supposed to abuse the other. And when I would do my I would go on the internet to look for topics. That's when I saw the number of teenage pregnancy in Rwanda. I didn't know about it. That was in 2015. So the number of teenage pregnancy is is kind of brought everything and the rebellious spirit in me because I didn't understand. I called the RBC, what are you guys doing about this? I want to talk about it. And then I thought that there was nothing being done in Rwanda on teenage pregnancy. So that's when I started talking about it on social media, especially on Twitter. And then I met so many other people who were also doing the work. And I started learning about feminism. I started learning about women's rights. And since I work in communication, I was approached by one of the NGOs here, local NGO in Rwanda, and that's how they approached me. They wanted me to lead their communication department. I left the corporate world and entered in the NGO world, and I would say that my work, being the paid work or the activism, everything that I do is around women's rights. And I feel like I'm so passionate about it because this is something that is really on my heart. And I feel like there's so many things that has to be changed, and there is opportunity. There is a lot of things that we have that can really make gender equality a reality in our country. So my day to work, my routine are composed of uh, building or doing strategy on communication, developing messages, and planning on all these messages to advance gender equality and also to advance access to SRHR in Rwanda. So I think I've talked much about what I do. I think, yeah.
Well, thank you for that background. Now we got to know you well. I didn't introduce the rest of my team here. Like, I'm not alone. We have Francine,
Well,
she's our
yeah.
team manager, and we have Marie Grazia, who is in charge of all the social media. Anything you see that we post, she's in charge of that.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And then we have Noreen, who is in charge of fundraising because we work for a non-profit. And
Mm.
in non-profit world, it's crazy hectic.
Yeah,
So
it
I'd
is.
like to ask them to join us and ask the questions we have prepared for you.
Okay.
Okay, hi
Thank
everyone.
you.
I think I'm the only one who's not in the room with you guys today. I hope you're doing well. Okay, thank you, Juliette. It's an inspiration to have you around and to hear from you now that we are ending the Women's History Month. And my concern is whenever someone is doing such a great work like you are doing, you mentioned having that rebellious spirit in you, but I don't think that it's really being rebellious or something. Is there any inspirational or any a person who inspired you? Not your teacher, because I don't believe your teacher inspired you from your story, but someone who inspired you to be the woman you are today, to believe in what you are believing in today, like someone who triggered that instant in you.
Okay. I would say my mom, even if today she doesn't say that she's a feminist, but she's the person who really inspired me because I would see the way she was interacting with my dad, and they used to have this friendship kind of relationship, but she will always stand for herself. in a conversation, at work, in the society, all the time. She's the person I would say who built me. Even if now she's like, ah, now for you, you are too much. But she is the person that built me. I don't know if you guys know, so my dad was Rwandan and my mom is Congolese. So for the fact that she got married and came to live in Rwanda, especially after the genocide, it wasn't an easy journey for her, because she had to adapt to the culture, she had to adapt to the way Rwandans work and the way they think, to measure her words, all those things. So I would always see that, and now I used to feel like she is right. She is right. She has to stand for herself. So I would say she's the one who really I looked up to, and the fact that I would go to see her at work, because she is a nutritionist, and at the time after the genocide, malnutrition was at the peak in our country, and we were living in Gisenyi, so most of the time she would go in rural area to help families and young kids below the age of 5 to with malnutrition and treat them. And sometimes we would go with her. So we would see a kid from where the kid was when they were malnutritious, and then after, when they are now okay and healthy. And that encouraged me to also be like her. Yeah, so I would say she's a big part of who I am today. So yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. It's a good thing that you mentioned that now she's like, Juliette, you're being a little bit too much on this one. I think you are. I don't know. It's like there is a border, there is a limitation, and you just passed through that. It's
Yeah.
kind of a red flag for her, and it brought me to my second question. My next question, I mean, how do you see like the how is feminism like seen in Rwanda, and like there are a lot of stereotypes attached to it or like
Mhm.
connected to feminism. Like how do you see it like perceived that way, and how would you help us or even other young women or other feminism to change that stereotype around the feminism name?
It's really hard. It's not only in Rwanda, but it's everywhere in the world. When actually you introduce yourself as a feminist, there is just there is a way they just see you. There is a stereotype attached to that you are angry, you're rebellious, you don't understand, you're always angry. So I would say that feminism in Rwanda is not viewed correctly, if I may say. They don't even understand what it is. One, because people don't really take time to understand or read. And the other thing is because they want to always attach someone's opinion to the whole movement and ideology of what feminism is. Now, I would say that feminism enables the oppressed individual to climb the ladder. Yes, the Rwanda is known to be a champion in gender equality. There are so many things that are being done, but when you go deep from the participation of women in the government, in the parliament, there are still issues that need a feminist approach to be changed and to change. I always talk about this. For example, we have good laws in place and policies like the family law that says that a man and a woman are equal before the law, and they're both heads of family. It's a good thing. We have that in the law. But when we come to now our day-to-day life, a woman has some gender roles attached to her that she has to do when she gets home. And as a woman, there are things that you're allowed to do because of social norms, and that actually kind of takes us back. Yes, the laws are there in papers, but when it comes to the real life, it's very hard. And I would say that feminism is the advocacy of women's rights on the basis of gender equality. So we need women to also be there. It's like the equity. So you can't say that boys and girls are equal when we see 23,000 teenagers getting pregnant every year, and you say that all have access to education. Yes, there is access to education, but when we go deep, we see that these girls are not safe because there's so many men around them who want to rape them. We see that many girls are still, when they go to school and come back to home, they have to do unpaid care work, and the boys are studying. So there are so many things that are not, we are not yet there, and we need feminism so that we can, the laws that are in place can reflect the reality of women, of the lives of women in Rwanda. So my encouragement to young feminists and feminists in Rwanda at large is, one, you need a support group. We always say support group, but I'll give the example of how I do my work. So most of the time, I'm seen on social media advocating, but sometimes you get attacked. People don't understand you. People don't take you seriously. Sometimes people say that you're crazy or angry. So after the fight, I go to my WhatsApp group to vent, and I also get support. I would give you an example of what recently happened. It really affected me, but I can't say it on social media. So it was when Kofi Olomide was supposed to come to perform in Kigali during the 16 days of activism. For me, I felt like it was an insult to the cause of fighting for women's rights, but as well as having that person who has been once accused and also charged of abuse to come and perform for Rwandans, being given that visa, and we are doing the 16 days of activism. I was so much attacked, but later I had to go and talk to my girls who are the feminists like me, who would understand us. Like I was hurt by these kind of words, and then we tried to sit down and vent and have a good time, and then do self-care. I also stayed away from the work for some time, so just to take care of my mental health and feel okay, and then come back, because it's not easy. It affects you. The other thing, you have to stand for yourself. So it means that you have to believe in the cause. You have to believe in what you're doing. So if you're being attacked, yes, step back and then read again, take time to heal, and then come back when you're refreshed and strong. So find a group of women that you have the same values, you have the same mindset to things, and also those women will also be your strength to carry on and continue to read more. That is the assignment that I gave myself this year, to continue to read more and also find evidence, because in Rwanda, when you're advocating, they will ask you for evidence. You're talking about this, so what proof do you have? So try as much as possible to read and then find those evidences. But the most especially thing is to stand for yourself and find a support system that help you in times of when you want of deception, or in time when you feel like you're a failure. At least your people are going to remind you that you're here and you're fighting this for a cause. So let's continue the fight. So that's what I can say.
Thank you so much. It's you gave us very fruitful and very great hints that we can use as we are also fighting the fight all along with you. Ornella, I think I can give it back to you and people at the house to wave other things.
Thank you so much, Juliet. We are happy to have you and to hear from your thoughts. I would like to go back to the Women's History Month. We know the March is the month for women. So, many people don't know like what it is and like what should be being done during that full month. So, what can you say as the meaning of the Women's History Month? Why do we need it, and what should we be doing during this time? Thank you.
Okay, I would say that Women History Month is a time to reflect and celebrate women who have done or have contributed to our society, the effort and the bravery that they have done, and so that we can remember that, and then it carries us for the fight to continue. For I would say that during this month we need to celebrate every woman that we know who contributed. It started in the US, and now we are here. We are in Rwanda celebrating Women's Month history. So it's a time for us also to support women. If you know that there are women who have businesses, go and buy things from them so that you can support their business. Talk about them. They might be small, or they might their work could be very small, but at least go and talk about it. Celebrate women in so many ways, and also. A time to remember that the fight is not yet done. We are still fighting, and we need all of us together, and men as well, so that what we are fighting for can become the reality in our lives. So recently, I was invited somewhere, and I just talked about how my boss, when we were celebrating on International Women's Day, he asked us if the celebration was a good thing. And some of us, including myself, I said it in one way it is, in the other it's not, and we wish someday we wouldn't celebrate because we would have reached to the gender equality that we want. So that is the goal. The goal is to for all of us, so all women, to have equal rights and have rights and live in liberty wherever they are, and equally as men. I know it's a very long journey that will take more than 100 years, but at least for us in our generation today, let us also do something, because we are here because some women fought for that. We went to school because some women advocated and say we want equal rights and we want education for all. That's why we are here. So in our generation also we have tasks to do. So it's very it could be sad if the fight stopped from here. So we need also to carry the light and give it to the generation after us. So that's what I would say about Women's Month history.
Thank you so much. With your experience, what have you seen as the impact of having the Women's History Month? Like, what did you see as the impact?
Uh, I would say, like for example, mostly in maybe outside, like it is for example, in the US. That's where I see Women's History Month is really a thing. In Rwanda, it's starting, but it's not really that much. So most of the time, what I see as an impact is not as to forget the things that our ancestors or the women who came before us did. For example, I'll give you an example. We always clash with women who are older than us, people like Rose Gwamuhihi, Ingabire Marie Makile. But on the other hand, as well, we recognize their fight in this country. So when the impact of that is the fact that when we get in this month, I remember that there was a time in this country a woman to own a bank account was not a reality. So when I think of that, I think of these women who made that possible. I don't reduce their fight to zero. So when we get in this month, that is the impact they have on on our society. The fact that when we look at the number of women in parliament, yes, there is still a journey, but the fact that we have more than 60% in the parliament, at least we have a representation of women in parliament, something that was not there before. So in this is some of the impact that women during this Women Month history that we reflect and we see. The other thing is just the law, the whole gender policies and the laws that are in place today, the law that for inheritance. Today, a woman can also inherit. Today, a woman is also a leader in her home. Today, we have so many laws that were changed. It didn't come overnight. It took years and years of discussion and advocacy, and this is because of these women. So that is the impact of Women's History Month, and I think we need to bring it to home, because after 8th of March, the way I see it in Rwanda, we tend to think like it. We just have to celebrate International Women's Day and that's it. So I love the fact that you're organizing this kind of discussion so that people can remember and people can continue to reflect on the whole month and not just one day. When it started in the US, it was only a week and then they took it to a month. I want that to also happen in Rwanda, where we would have days or weeks where we celebrate women in arts. Let's celebrate women like Cecile Kayirebwa. She's a legend, and I believe that singing in her time was not easy as a woman. So we need to do those kind of things, celebrating them, and also celebrate those who are fighting today. People like you, people like me. We celebrate each other. It might not be on the national level, but at least on social media, in our circles, few events here and there, just to continue to remember where we came from and where we are heading.
Yeah, thank you for your views. I see it is really a good, like, it is good to have this Women History Month because, like, if I can give, like, my testimony is that when I knew that there is the Women History Month, I found it is like a time I personally, as a young woman, I started thinking about myself and like reflecting on my role in the community and like giving myself some task of what I can be doing to have changes made in my community, like to think about what I am able to do that can help empower women because we need women to be empowered. So it is a good time for all women and even all the people to be thinking about women, what can be done for women, and like the role also women need to be taking. Thank you. I can give the floor to my colleague to continue. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Well, thank you, Juliette. Like, actually, I'm a great fan. I'm a big fan of your work. I follow you closely on
Thank
Twitter, especially, and I identify as a feminist,
you.
and people frown upon that.
Thanks.
They really do. And
Yeah.
well, I was wondering, like, we know culture. We lived in a patriarchal society for so long that getting out of it is really hard.
Mm.
But what are your views like about culture and religion influencing the feminism, like influencing how people view feminism, especially here in Rwanda?
Mm. So, religion and culture is such a big pillar. There are such big pillars in our society, and some laws or even social norms that we have today came from religion and and culture. I'm religious myself. I would say I'm religious, but I'm a believer. There is a faith that I believe and hold dear to me. But I also know that in my faith there are still things that are not right, that are not correct, that oppress women, and I would say it's sometimes it's conflicting on the personal level, because you have some things that are written in the Bible that you also don't understand, you also don't agree with, but you also have faith as a person because maybe of the how you were raised, or your spirituality, and it's something that you still attach yourself to. So the way I do things, I'm real to myself, and I always say that I have to be now on the religion part. So I say I have a relationship with my God, and I have to be real with him. So when women are oppressed, I know that it's not a good thing, and I will still talk to him, and I'm like, this is your fight, this is our fight, and we need to fight this patriarchy because it wasn't there before. Now when it comes now to religion, to the culture, where I think not everything in the culture is wrong, and I'm always careful to not to leave things that are very dear to us, that make us African and Rwandans, for the sake of modernizing, or for the sake of becoming like the West. So I think there's things in our culture that you need to embrace, and we need to also pass through the generation after us, like the way we dress, like the mushalana, very beautiful, and it's an attire for men and women. But when it comes maybe to the dowry, we need to think about ways that are healthy, that reflect gender equality, that reflects feminines, where maybe we won't need dowry anymore, because when a girl, the family of the boy, of the man, pays the bride price, and then you go, they say that you're now belonging in their family. I really don't feel that's a right thing. So we need to look at harmful social norm and harmful practices that are there in the culture and abolish them, and then take those that are good. We've seen this in the health, in the when we are talking about health, and it was hard in the beginning, but today people have forgotten, and we have now acquired good practices. I'll give an example. Before like the 90s, people used to drink in the, like during the gusaba, people would come, the family of the man and the woman, they would come and share in one pot, and they would drink from the straws. But the Ministry of Health came and banned those things because they said that it wasn't healthy. And today, no one is doing that. So we need also people from the gender ministry to also look at Hello, sorry, my connection went off. I was just saying that we need ministries and leaders who will go and look at social norms and things in our culture that are not appropriate or that are not contributing to gender equality, and abolish them. The same way we saw in the health, we saw in other sectors that also are now contributing to good health, and you can also see that also contributing to gender equality. So that's what I would say about religion and culture and feminism.
Thank you very much for your insights. Well, this conversation is really good, and we're really enjoying it. So, Barry, that's if we keep you for
Really,
a bit longer. Yeah.
thanks. I'm talking. For me, I feel like I'm talking too much. I love talking, so if you guys are enjoying, then I'm happy.
Yes, thank you. We are happy to have you and to learn from you. And as we are building this network to learn from you as you support women, and we would like to know other women that you got inspired to and who we can be reaching out and then get to learn more and work together. Thank you.
Thank you. Women who inspire me, of the feminists that inspire me in this country, are so many, but I'm just going to share some of the people that I know very closely. And that is one is my friend Sylvine Sanga, who's a women's rights activist and a feminist. So maybe it won't be a good thing to reach out to her this month because she's still, she lost her dad recently and she's still grieving. But if you have another occasion, another day, you can reach out to her, and I believe that she'll be available for you guys. And I always see her as my big sister because we kind of have the same value, the same vibe, and we only met like not even 3 years, more than 3 years ago. But by the time we met, we became friends, became sisters, and she's, I would say, for to my generation, she's the one that I look up to. The other person that I would recommend you is Chantal Umuhoza. Chantal Umuhoza is she has a master's in feminism and economy. She's the brain of our group because she's more logical and she has her things well like on point, and she's more of an academic feminist. So if you want more insight on feminism in a more academic way, she would be the person that I would recommend. And the same also goes to another feminist called Annette Mukiga. She works with the Kivina Tikivina, and she works to try to make the NGO or organizational work activities and more feminist, and or to reflect feminism into the NGO work. And she's been doing a great job with Kivina Tikivina, and also supporting um, young organization. So the other person that I really, really, really love is called Olive Wamaria. She's an unapologetic feminist. For her, she really this person who really I see her as a fighter. Yeah, she doesn't tolerate bullshit, and and she's this person who always reminds us. She always challenged me on my faith. She's like, how can you be a Christian and be a feminist? So she's this person who will always challenge me and challenge everything. So she doesn't eat her words. For her, she's very unapologetic. So those would be the women that I would recommend if you want to them as your guest speakers. So yeah, and then I would also come back to women also in Rwanda, and I talked about them. And this is Ingabire Marie Makile. Even if today there are things that she talks about, and I'm like, no, 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 no. So I really love the fact that she was the face of feminism in Rwanda for so long, and she advocated for women for so long, and I really look up to her. And also Rose Rwauhihi. I remember there was a time I had a conversation with them, and they were like, you people are young. You don't know the things that we fought for. So they started telling me how they fought in during the days, and I think all of them were women journalists at the time, and I really look up to them. The fact that at least we have a gender monitoring office that can at least give us how gender equality is progressing in Rwanda. So that's a good thing. We also have Marie Makile who works in transparency. It's not easy to call out corruption when you're working with men, when you're working with powerful people. It's not an easy job. So I really look up those two women in this country. And if you could have a chance, they agree, they are really busy women, but if they agree to come and be your guest, then I recommend those ones.
Yeah, thank you so much. Good women with connection, and we hope we'll have a good event, a big event with all those women you mentioned, and then we have a good discussion. Thank you.
Yeah, yes, thank you so much. Or maybe you can prepare it and then we try to find funds so that it's being prepared by you guys, and then you invite all of us, the older generation and the young generation.
Actually, that's something that can be done. Like, we
Yeah,
look more into it. But
yeah, and then you
before,
call it intergenerational dialogue on feminists,
yeah,
something like that.
yeah. Well, I have this question. It just popped in my mind. I'm sorry I didn't like draft it before, but you talked about the anger. Like, feminists are perceived to be angry people, and are perceived to be really angry because when it's something that's really like affecting women, I get so angry, and sometimes I do lash out, and that
Mm,
anger affects mental health, and mental health is something really important, and we have to take care of it. So what are the tips
yeah.
you can give to us that of managing that anger, and how to react when someone is
Mhm,
baiting you to be angry and to say like she's
mhm,
a feminist, she's angry.
mhm, mhm, mhm. I talked I talked about it a little bit earlier. The tips, one, you are the most important person. Yeah, the fight is important. What we are doing is important, but you come first. You are the MVP in this whole story. So the first thing is to know what triggers you. Yeah, there are things you don't have to be angry all the time. Yeah, so when you see someone asking you questions and you see that it might trigger you, you can choose to walk away. If you feel like it's unnecessary fight, just walk away. And also, if someone now comes with a question and they know that it's going to trigger, you can choose not to answer. And I've been doing that, especially at work, because you have to keep a good attitude. So there are things that you have to balance. But let's say you've seen teenage pregnancy on the rise and you want to talk about it, it's making you angry, but you have things that you want to list out, you want to talk about them. Yes, you can talk about them. Now, taking care of your mental health is, yes, knowing what triggers you, but also when it happens and you feel like you're very angry, and just do things that calm you down. There are people who like music. For me, I just like to go and sleep or cry. I would cry about it. There were time I was like, what am I doing? What am I even fighting for? But I would also question myself and talk it out. And after that, after listening to good music, after watching my movie, after eating good food, after taking care of me, then I go back and fight again. And also the way I told you, you need to find a support system. So if the people who are here, your friends, and they know you, they might come and tell you how you, they're like, oh, do we, sorry, Ornella, we see that these things trigger you. So you need maybe to start avoiding unnecessary fight. For example, for me, what they told me, they're like, okay, take some time off Twitter. You can talk about other things, but at least mute all these things that make you angry for some time. And then when you have regained strength, go back and fight. So that's what I do. And self care is most important. So when you love yourself, it's very easy to also accommodate other people's struggle, other people's burden, because the love comes from within. So be intentional about loving yourself. Recently, I took myself on a Valentine's date. It was a very nice thing. I had never done it, so I did it for the first time, and I think it's been carrying me for all this time, and I feel like it's something that I did good for me. So you can offer yourself a gift. You can send yourself flowers. I know it's crazy, but to love is to be crazy. It's acceptable when we are doing it for other people, but just be crazy about yourself. So yeah.
Well, thank you, Juliette. We had we
Oh,
enjoyed this session, but sorry.
okay. No, I thought that you lost me. There was a time my
Oh,
internet was not stable, so I
no,
thought
no,
that you
yeah,
lost me. Yeah.
it's okay. Well, before we close our session, well, if you have something you want to ask us, any tip, like anything you want to talk to us, we're open ears.
Yeah, I would just like to know what you guys do apart from hosting online conversation like these ones that are really good. So yeah, like what do you do? What consists of your work? So maybe we could see how my work at HDI we could maybe partner with you or do some sessions with you or even inviting you to some of our our conversation because most of the time we look for young people and it's not very easy, but knowing you guys that are here, so I just want to know what you guys do apart from having conversation online.
Yes, thank you so much for that great question. Apart from having like this kind of session online, and apart from making some social media works as you follow our channel, we are also we have a program for young women to learn, and the main topics we focus on there is women in political leadership. We also learn about digital marketing and social communication. We also learn about business development on how to develop like a social project for the community improvement, and we learn about more on information search. Those are like the main focus in the program, and as you say, we will be happy even to partner more in some of different programs because you are in communication, and like as we study graphic design, and you can be a good person that can be sharing the guides on like graphic design, digital communication, and also we learn about fundraising because if we think about implementing and doing some project for the community's interest, we needed to learn more about fundraising on how we can get that money and we use it to have our community developed and to have women being economically empowered. Yeah, that's what I can say in brief.
Hmm. Thank you for sharing.
Welcome.
Hmm. You guys are doing a great job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We are learning, we are growing. This is like a really long journey. It never ends.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah, it
When I
doesn't.
was your age, I wasn't even that of a fighter. So it's very good when I see young people younger than me doing the work. So it gives me hope that, yeah, we still have young sisters who are in this fight with all of us together. Yes.
Well, thanks for this great session. And I see
It
that we
was
still have like
fun.
12 minutes to go. So if anyone has
Oh,
anything for Juliette, if if you want to tell her something, if you want to tell her something, you can go ahead. And if there's nothing, we'll close from here. But we would love to have you again, maybe
oh yes,
face to face.
virtual hard.
Yeah, for now
Yeah,
it's just virtual hugs.
yes.
Well, a quick one for Juliette. It's I wish it was off record, but you mentioned having someone on board called Chantal Muhoza, and I'm curious if they are just names that are like it's a coincidence, or if it's the Chantal Muhoza that I know. Ornella, you know Shasi, that's her names. Yeah, she's called Chantal Muhoza, and I know, and I'm wondering if it's really her or if it's someone else.
Oh, okay. Now how am I going to explain? She has an NGO, Spectra.
Oh no, I lost you.
No, I'm saying
Mhm.
Chantal Umoza has an NGO called Spectra. I don't know if it's the same person we're talking about.
Oh no, no, that's not her. Definitely.
That's not her. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're just
She's
names. Okay.
old.
Now what?
She's my age.